the starry sea, with a batlet held tight with glee. Hunt OPC, his battle cry. Stars and moons light up the sky. OPC hunt, OPC, through the cosmos wild and free. Romulans and foes we fight, community our guiding light. Battling communists with cheer, reduces courage, knows no fear. With every clash and mighty roar, victory's prize forevermore. OPC hunt, OPC, through the cosmos wild and free. Romulans and foes we fight, community our guiding light. Battle like a ship does soar, reduces heart and core. Galactic winds, they lead our course, unity our driving force. Unity our driving force. OPC hunts OPC, through the cosmos wild and free. Romulans and foes we fight.
We wrote that song a while ago, and I still love it. I still a good one. It's still a good one. Let me go ahead and turn that one on down. Get our other playlist up and going so we can have some background music while we discuss today's stuff, which is going to be Fleet Commander Sisko. We're going to discuss the new Outpost and kind of go over, well, crewing really hasn't changed. Just spoiler alert. You know, I don't see the point in making a clickbait. To be honest, crewing really hasn't changed. But going over crewing, discussing some of those options, and more importantly, trying to inform you of the cost of things, and hopefully, as others have already started doing, and I'm sure Scopely has already heard many discussions, but these discussions should continue on, of players saying, hey, this is too expensive, cost should be lowered. I know there's been a lot of my VIPs who have, in particular, here in the game, frustrated lately, but there's some good this month, there's some discussions this month, there's a lot. No matter what, happy holidays, Merry Christmas to you if you're watching live. Do appreciate you, and welcome on in. Shout out to A Tenor Bedley, Patrick, I Choose Life, Dark Ginger, Ainsole Gown? I don't know how to pronounce that. Mika, good to see you. Boldron Braindig. Patrick is here. Who else we got here? Brandon's here. Robert. Everybody, welcome in. Go ahead and invite your alliance mates, your server mates. We can have all these STFC discussions together, and then we can use that information to well, have a good time, or in my case, just drink from my uranium mug, because supporting content creators is cool. Yeah. Cat Flory, good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome in. So, number one, I actually have some outposts running at the moment. Let me go ahead and start this G6 Solar Armada while we're just sitting here in the background. So I've just got it running around a regular 56. The reason I have it running around a regular 56 is to show you some direct comparisons. Now, could have done this anyway, right? Like, we could easily show you some of the numbers already. Here's one of those 56 elites finally taking out what remained of the Enterprise. And how many of those 57 elites did we get? We have to count them. Remember, the 57s denote wave 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12. Let's just say we got 14. 30 is the amount that you can get. So there's 42 regular and 30 of the wave 2 style in the Outpost. So if I got 14, multiply the plunder I got by that, which would be, in this case, we'll put it on the screen real quick. The plunder numbers, 1 second. Let me find that spreadsheet and show you. Boop. So plunder numbers 14, that would have been getting 140 plunder, as opposed to if I was able to defeat the 56s, the regular ones, which I'm currently doing now, at 6 a pop, times 30. Slightly more, just barely. So there's a cutoff you got to find for yourself, and I just want to be able to show not only the loot gain, but also show the actual log gain for everybody. And of course, I'm sure people are going to have a lot of questions. Now, I Choose Life says it's just good to see my happy face, but thank you. I do have a face. and it is currently semi-happy. Yeah. Now, Dinwiddie says elites have plunder in wave 1 too, though. You are right. That is a good call out, Dinwiddie. I probably should have thrown that up there. Now you get a smaller amount. In fact, the wave 1 plunder is around what the wave 2 plunder is for the regular outpost. Dang it, Dinwiddie, you're making me jump into that before I was ready, but you know what? It's good because you're calling things out. So wave 1, you've got plunder. Originals, you do not. So then, second part of that, 42 rounds of 8 plunder, which is more than you would get here. So the idea is, depending on where you're at, because there is no 51 version of this. So if let's just say you're a G5 player and you're still running the tutorial ones, then you just keep running the tutorial ones because there's not a tutorial version of an elite. That said, the difficulty scaling is not as high as I thought it would be. So I guess that's a positive. I do not find the elites being as difficult as I expected them to be, but they are definitely more difficult. I mean, I can very easily complete a full run of a 56 regular just using the account that y'all are used to seeing as a reference point. I can very easily finish a 56 regular, was only made it through halfway through wave 2 of the elite. And I'll leave this running so that we do our stream later tonight on Twitch. You can then see those completely run through just so that everybody knows I'm not making it up. So the elites have a lower, I would say, bar in terms of like how far you need to push into it with a higher payout. So I would actually say those are a good addition this month if you like the outpost mechanic. It doesn't change the fact that outposts are still asking you to take between 2 and 4 of your ships for 6 hours. And there are plenty of people who have legitimate reason to dislike the outpost mechanic. Like, I'm not going to dismiss anybody who just says they don't like the outpost mechanic. It's fine. In terms of payout to actual effort, though, the elites pay out pretty well. Good to see you, Oppo. Welcome in. Stingray, good to see you as well. And Moren, welcome in. So it does also depend on what level you're at. For example, I've had a few of my G7 players come in or talking about the runs they're doing, and it's important to really take note of the plunder like Dinwiddie did, because you have what is a negative this month, in my opinion, is the very, very high cost of the new items added into the outpost. For example, we can bring up Fleet Commander Sisko. If you wanted Fleet Commander Sisko in 100 days, you need to be able to afford 2,000 plunder a day. That's almost impossible without like dominating elites. I mean, that's a lot, right? That's a lot. So the costs are very high. 750, which will give it to you in 200 days, is still a lot for the average player. Again, let's just say that you're a very, very strong G5 player. We'll use that as a reference because that's what a majority of people are. We can, of course, discuss G6 players as well. No problem with that. But let's just use what we were doing before. Let's just say you're a really strong level 60. You're likely going to be doing, let's just say you were doing previously, you can, like I'm showing on this screen, because I'm using G5 ships, you're maxing out the 56, right? Which means that you're getting 6 plunder per run. Then you do it times 30, means you're getting 180 plunder if you're beating a 56. Now, let's say for the state of argument that you can do okay against the 53s, maybe you can do some against the 56s, then depending on how far you make it, let's just say you make it exactly as far as I did. Let's use my account as an example and you're a G5 player. So that means that you're going to get through those first, 40? I think I had them backed up. I had them flipped. It's the first 30 are wave 1s on these. So if you get through the first 30 waves of the new elites, let's say you're doing a 56, that means that you're going to make through the first 38, you're going to add 420. 420, so that means possible 660 plunder that you can get from doing a 56 elite all the way. If you only made it through about what I did, then you get a little over 500. Meaning that a level 60 player, to be able to get one pull, needs to do multiple outposts a day. Cost, little high. Little bit. Now we're sticking with stock cost. We're not talking about it anyways. We can try to manipulate the amount of plunder we get. Just stock cost. 660 is what you would get from a 660. I'm sorry, from a 56. If you were doing the full run. Prices here are really high. And I said on Monday night before the ARC launched, I said this past week, said all those things. You were going to have to join me in arguing for cost in the refinery to come down. I believe they're way, way, way too high. That said, the mechanic is not as difficult as I expected it to be. Like, I really did think that if you were a level 60 player doing 56s, you were going to have to like settle for doing parts of a 53. Doesn't look like that's the case, but the payouts of what you're getting just are not very high. Now, Mr. Kramer points out that 2,000 plunder is also for vengeance blueprints. It is. You know, so the cost of everything, and this isn't even to get into the other point that I've been talking about, which is the refinery itself. So again, for those who don't have the numbers, here are the numbers for the amount of plunder you get from the elites. And again, I think in terms of comparing it to regular Outpost, I don't really have an issue with these. I do also want to remind everybody, if you watch this channel, anything that you see in our spreadsheets that's still yellow means that we need you, if you have access to those things. So in this case, we're talking about some of the G7 runs right here. Anybody trying the 80s yet? Anybody going after the 80s? Probably not. But if you are and you happen to see the payouts, let us know. Same thing for the original Outpost. If you have any information that you see yellow in our spreadsheets and you want to share it with myself, Jules Verne, Quazel, Blue Mando, all the people who do chart stuff, Tarpitude, Papa Smurf, I can just shout out anybody that I can. Check it out and please help us out. But anyway, here are your payouts for the elites. Elites, still though, whether it's the payout or the refinery, however angle we want to attack this, you're just not getting enough plunder to get all the things that you need or want, even in a reasonable free-to-play path. You can buy gingers in the Outpost refinery. Yes, I'm there. You can have me in your Outpost refinery. And I also want to point out that this is also really okay. Again, I've been real trying to behave and not have everything be negative. This is also with not mentioning the fact that the new Fleet Commander expansion slot, which you need building level 61 to even start doing turn-ins for those who haven't seen it, does everybody already know the cost? I mean, we're 24 hours deep. Surely everybody's heard the tales. Does everybody know the cost of how much the FC slot is? Everybody know? It's 1 million. 1 million plunder. Yep. 1 million plunder. That's how much that FC unlock cost you. 1 million. So Malanta. All right, so let's just say that you were making, you know, a cool 1,000 plunder and an elite outpost. Yeah. Anybody want to do the math real quick? It's not hard to do math when it's just nothing but zeros. If you were making 1,000 elite plunder a day, it'd take you 1,000 days. Oh, man. I can't help but laugh, okay? Look, that's not even talking about how much you need for other things that have come in. So the cost of the refinery are just sky high. They're a little ridiculous. They're a little ridiculous, right? You know, it's this. Now I can tell you this. A few people over at Scopely have already responded to some of this and said that their numbers are right. Like, there's a reason, there's balance. So you're going to need to join with us. This is going to be a long fight. You're going to need to join with people like me and Nigel and CCs and VIP moderators. Join in because, yeah, the costs are just high. I don't even think it's bad. Like, I love that we have a free-to-play path day one, and I'm not going to trash talk that. But the only people who can realistically free-to-play this one day one are G7 players who, shocker, with the exception of like a handful of people, aren't free to play. You know, the people who actually need it can't. Yep. So it's good that it's in there, but it doesn't do anything for anybody. Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We've got I love what Braindig just did. Hashtag FTP, free the plunder. The mechanic I actually am fine with if you're one of those people that is able to just deal with elite outposts. Like, if you don't mind the 6-hour, retainer you have to put elite outposts on, cool, that's fine. But whether you do or do not, the cost here, if you're going to participate in that loop, are just really, really high. So again, if you're doing a 56 elite, your maximum payout that day is 660. And this is of course not mentioning the fact that there is a shortage of directives at the current point in the game. You're not even able to do a free-to-play Sisko in 200 days, right? Our big thing that we have fought for a long time is when ships come in, we want them to be a 100-day free-to-play path. I see Fleet Commander Sisko as no different than a ship. He's literally just a ship, just not one that takes up a dock, right? I mean, he's giving you bonuses against the outpost, including an extra slot to fight against the Outpost, several efficiency bonus for our G7 players and stuff. Again, that's a little crazy. That's a little crazy. And keep in mind that it's hard to math this out because these Stingrays saying by that math, the seat unlock should be $800. It really depends because here's one issue with STFC math, especially when it comes to the financial end of the math. There's no consistency there. You actually probably noticed somebody else talk about the Vengeance being 2 million plunder. Anybody want to guess how much it costs right now to buy a Vengeance? Like if you're just buying the blueprints. Anybody want to take a gander what that cost is? Anybody remember? Anybody know? I'm baiting our G7 players to participate in the channel right now because I don't have the pack I can show you. If somebody wants to send me the pack, feel free to share. But I've seen the pack. I just don't have a picture of it handy. But it's several $1,000s just to unlock the Vengeance. Like if you just want to go and say, hey, I'm going to buy the blueprints. I don't want to grind it. I'm just going to buy it. It's $4,000. Yet it's twice the cost of the FC in the refinery, which would make you be like, well, that means they value the FC slot at $2,000. But if you were to just buy plunder directly, can you see how there's a lot of headaches that happen when dealing with this game because of lack of consistency? So you would need $4,000. And Brain Dig, if you happen to have one handy, shoot me a pic. I'll put it on the screen so people can see the Vengeance. Anybody can, actually. Oh, somebody already did. Look at that. Somebody was ahead of the game. Sent the Vengeance picture so we can show. So $100 of the USS Vengeance pack will give you a whopping 25 shards, which technically is historically accurate. Most packs are 25 shards for the ship. So $4,000. Yep. To unlock. And yet, the consistency is yet to be found. So that's part of my constant frustrations and how we're constantly talking about the same things. So by that nature, again, we got two different prices for something, which either way, either of those prices to me is just ridiculously high. I mean, you've already got for now, I'll just call it what it is, as the day of this launching, you've already got a paid wall for the FC slot. The paid wall is actually having your building at 61. How many people are in the chat right now? We've got 250 people who are watching the stream live already. It just started. Shout out to y'all. 250 people. How many people have their OCC building at 61, which came out in November? How many people got their OCC at 61? It's not a judge thing. If you do, awesome. You enjoyed something, you purchased it, awesome. How many of the 250 just present? The diehard crazy people in the chat. Some of the most loyal people in the game are at 61. So we got two people so far. And I know I've already spotted about a dozen of our G7 players in the chat. So 2 people have chimed in so far that they've got their building. So quick math, less than 1% of my viewers right now, less than 1%. So there's already a paid lock to have it in this month anyway, right? If you wanted to have the FC slot just to unlock the free-to-play path, there's already a paywall to the free-to-play path the month it came out because nobody has the building at that level. The actual upgrade rate of the building means most people won't start this free-to-play path for several months, especially if you're G5, obviously, because you're G5. Yep. 61 doesn't exactly correlate with that. So my big thing here is, again, not trying to just like stir up negativity. The costs are just way too high, right? It just doesn't make sense for the plunder seat to cost 1 million. It doesn't make sense, to have the Sigma commander credits be 400 for a box of 50. That's a specific one that you need. You've got regular 150 Sisko at 150 a pop. Again, that's what, 3.5, 4-ish, 3.5. Elite 56 Outpost is how much that costs to pull. Or reverse that. For one Elite Outpost, you get 3.5. No, I had it right the first time. I'm sorry. Because you get 660 for a 56 Elite. So 1 1/3. I had my math all jacked up. 1 1/3 56 Elite is what you need to get one pull of a Sisko skill point, not to mention the 4,000 to double it up. Then you've got Sisko himself with his unlock cost costing more than a 56 Elite. And the reason I'm picking 56 Elite, just for those curious, I'm picking it because that's what most people have access to. We absolutely have G7 players who are grinding on like the 63s and the 66s. Absolutely. Not denying those people exist. But again, we're talking about the greater area of the game. Most people aren't completing most of the elites as it is. So picking a lower level one for the instance of showing off the math, I think is fair. Now, if somebody disagrees with that logic, absolutely, we can actually discuss it from a higher plunder standpoint, and that's completely okay. If we want to jump over and say, okay, well, let's use 66s and 67s, it's easy to do that math. But the reason I'm picking 56 elites is just because that's something that is going to be, at least in December, more readily doable by most people who are even in the Outpost loop. And you're talking about them not even being able to afford one Sisko a day, in addition to all the other things that you're already pulling. Hierarch shards. If you're a PvPer, you're pulling Hierarch shards. Okay, what about Premium Mirror Dust? Premium Mirror Dust is 50 a box for 100. 50. That's very reasonable. Very reasonable. We were complaining that this was 1,000. So, getting hot in here, I'd turn off a little space heater. So with all of this said, my argument is just lower the cost. And I'm curious, after me going through this little 20-minute spiel, where everybody else is at on this topic, right? Now, if y'all want to bring up other, waves, as in like you want to talk about the 66 elites, we can. I'm definitely not trying to just harp on G5 ones. I just use them as an example because I feel like that is the better way, is take the part of the loop that most people are going to be able to do and earn from, and then use that to compare the costs in the Outpost. Axter says the costs are definitely the same. Brandon says 50 for one is fine. 1,000 for two pulls is ridiculous, or is ludicrous. And see, I agree. Look, I'm not arguing that this isn't ludicrous, but when you, comparison is the thief. But when you compare to Sisko, who's 5,000 for three, at 50 to 1,000 jump don't seem that bad. But I guess what I'm really saying is also, let's just use like what you brought up. I do agree that as they get further along, they get kind of ridiculous in the pricing. But let's use what you just said. A double pull here is 2,000. By that logic, the single pull should be 100. Again, that's the frustrating part of STFC. Just like we showed you the pricing of the Vengeance and the FC slot don't align because there's no consistency. There's no consistency here. You got Premium Mirror Dust saying, okay, this singular pull is 50. Then you got this singular pull is 750. But yet its double is 2,000. And the other one's double was 1,000. There's no consistency. It doesn't make any sense. Like, that's going to be part of the argument that I make. It's just, I get it. These are technically different items, but why is there no consistency to how we math things out? So I love that there's a free-to-play path, and I'm not hating on that. I just think that we really need to work this week on passing feedback to the overlords on consistency and the pricing, and this is just completely crazy. Now, William says, I really feel G4 and lower has been left out of the past few months. I'm on 45, and all my spaceships are max as far as I can go for now. No new content for us. William, there will be no more content for low levels. And let me go ahead and tell you a spoiler. That's the best place to play in the game. Have fun. I promise you, you've got way more fun than everybody up in G7. Enjoy. Have a great time. I promise you, you're having a good time. But just, if you want to be part of new stuff, letting you know, you're not getting new stuff in G4 anymore. G5's only got about a year left while it's still getting new stuff before it gets phased out for higher levels. Just letting you know. Now, personally, I'm okay with that because I have more fun in my G3 and G4 than I do in G7 accounts to log into. And I'm not saying I don't have fun on the G6 account. I do. I'm just saying the new content is not what makes STFC fun. It's just not. New content is how STFC makes money, but that's not what makes Star Trek Fleet Commander fun, in my opinion. So, Ascendant says, despite execution issues, are we enjoying the new stuff, though? Hearing a lot of people don't even like the new content, let alone with the issues. So here's my comment to that. Ooh, I don't mean to be hit hostile. People either like or don't like Outpost already, right? Like, people either like or do not like the Outpost mechanic as it is. I don't think this month changed that. I don't think Elite Outpost came out and people went, I like Outpost now. I don't think Elite Outpost came out and people went, I hate them. You either like the mechanic or you don't. I am indifferent. I actually don't mind the 6-hour mechanic because I just do it generally at night. Now, for today and yesterday, I'm doing it in the middle of the day. So so that I can have direct logs and I can show y'all, which we'll look at here in a second, of how it works. But for me, this is I'm going to bed. Wife's like, hey, why are you still awake? Get off the computer, we're playing video games, blah, 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 you know, nag. Well, then I'm like, okay, time to go to bed. Bloop, pop these on an Outpost. I'm going to take well, for a 56, I'm not going to, but let's just say I take this as far as I can go, the main ISO defense one, and I just ignore it until I wake up in the morning and either my ships are dead because an outpost killed it or because an enemy killed it, or they're just floating in space and I bring them home and repair. So I like that mechanic exists in terms of like the hands-off nature. But by that, it also means I'm never going to bother with the active buff portion, which was something that they thought was a big selling point. And you can tell they think it's a big selling point by how they designed the elites, because the elites work the same way. The elites have massive bonuses, some of them being PvP bonuses and such. Like this. This is the hostile ones, but still, like you can see they really leaned into this. Most players I know do not use these. They don't even bother with them. Nobody cares about them. This isn't to cover the cost, because especially for our G7 players in the chat, the Sigma par steel cost of turning these on is absolutely insane. That said, your G7, they expect you to be swiping that card for anything that you want to purchase, like it's Christmas. So I don't really know anybody who does any of the bonuses anyway. That for them, and this goes back to like the whole we talk about them having a disconnect. They really think like people are going to sit here and use an outpost, as in we're going to put our 2 best ships out, and then we're going to use the last 6 or the last 4 or the last 3 to take advantage of the outpost. That doesn't make any sense, right? Because remember, outpost buffs are only active while you're doing an outpost. Now, a simple change that I've brought up them, in my opinion, should make is that these work like an exocomp. So let's say that I am capturing the outpost and I upgrade it. That upgrade button should set a 24-hour exocomp, as in I hit it, I got 24-hour bonus. It's going to expire. You can have a little marker up that says your bonuses, you got a little timer, whatever, I don't know. But having it only be available when I actually have my typically best ships pulled up. Now, y'all might be different. There might be players in the chat right now who have maybe their 2 weaker ships running the outpost, leaving their better ships to actually go take advantage of the bonuses here. But I just think that's such a tiny fraction of the game. I think treating them like exocomps, where they actually, it still makes you put forth the work of beating the outpost, right? But you then can actually take advantage of having beat that outpost for longer than the 6-hour duration where your ships are tied up. Again, I'm not the only person who's spouted this out. I'm not trying to take full credit for it. There are plenty of people who come up with a similar idea. But here we are. Now, to answer your question, long-windedly as I tend to do, I don't think the people look at this mechanic and either like or dislike it based on this month. I think you already did or didn't. You either already liked Outposts or already did not like Outposts, or maybe you're like me where you'll use Outposts, but you're never going to use them the way Scopely wants you to use them. So that's why I'm focusing on the pricing more than anything. I think Outpost is something that is, look, it's here, but am I going to say, hey, it's 2026, what can we bring from 2025 and make better into 2026? It's not Outpost. I just say, hey, let Outpost exist and then just let them eventually fade off, right? It doesn't mean it's even a bad mechanic. It just means you tried something new, cool, didn't go great, it didn't go necessarily terrible, just leave it in the game and move on. Anyway, I don't want to get more of y'all's comments because I'm talking a lot. RPM says, this rollout this month for Outpost feels tepid at best as it relates to the annual holiday event store. The bar for expectation is set low, so there's minimal disappointment. Fair enough. Look, I'm not going to likely have positive things to say about the event store this month because I have very high expectations because it's Christmas. And now I know on this channel, I've not put up all the snow and the effects. We put the new computer up and I've not set OBS for that. But y'all come over to Twitch, you'll see I've got plenty of Christmas decorations and I'm very festive. So I have high expectations. That's going to be me being disappointed. I like that you are able to have those lower so you don't have to go through that. Law says, I still think these should not be attackable, especially when 70s are killing 50s. There's no difference even at max boost. Silly mechanic, not thought through properly. Well, the difference is, Laws, is how much you're getting paid. So again, to bring back up the spreadsheet, the difference is this, right? Especially when it comes to the elite plunders, how much plunder can you earn? And as we're discussing all these prices of how much things cost, which, you know, you can argue a really, really high cost, you know, it makes you have to consider this right here. And even here is not a lot. I mean, we're talking about the cost. Let's say a G7 player, right? G7 player, you're getting 40 for the wave 2s, and you're getting 25 for the wave 1s. Again, that's a level 73 outpost, so the lowest outpost you can get. Let's bring up the fancy wancy calculator. The 25 one times 30 is easy, but the other one I'm gonna let my brain figure out on its own. 40 times 42, what, 880? Nope, 1680. See, that's why I don't let my brain do it. So 1680 plus 750, 2,430. So if you're a G7 player who can completely make it through all the way to 73, you're getting 2,430, which means you're getting enough. Hey, you're getting enough at level 73 outpost defeating if you're able to do it, which, yeah, good luck with that. If you're able to do that, oh, loot boost, triple that. You're right, MM. Let's do that. Let's triple that. Time that by 3. 7,290. Good call. So let's say you've earned 7,290. What is 7,290 going to give you that day as a G7 player in the refinery? Well, we're going to head on over. That's going to give us the following. Soon we're going to do our normal pulls, so I'm going to leave those out. We're talking about new stuff. Sisko, that's going to give you 3 Sisko shards. Then you have 2,000 left over to spend on other things. You have 2,290 left over. Okay, 2,290. Let's see how much of the Sisko plunder we start working on. We're going to have to do a single pull. We can't afford to do a double pull. No, that's a crummy one. Okay, well, we get 3 Sisko shards. We get 1 FC skill point for Sisko. And then over here, we can't afford to do that. So we'll get one of these boxes. That's 900 more. So we spent, what? How much we spent? We're down to 1,100 currency left, 1,100 plunder. And we've done 2 single pulls of this box and this box. And then we triple pulled Sisko. We haven't even talked about the FC seat. We've not talked about the vengeance blueprints that some people might be wanting to go after. So even if you're able to completely do a 73, not getting a lot of payout, even in your refinery. And there's not many people, even in G7, who are running 73s. What are most people doing? Like Emperor Jew here. How do I know? Because I see him. Emperor Jew's not running 73s. Emperor Jew's running 60s, 63s. So again, the pricing and the scaling is just, that's my main critique. That's why I'm focusing on the critique. It's off. It's off. Yeah. You run 70s partial loot crew. Imp, I have seen you run lower than 70s. You might have upgraded, but in November, I saw you running lower than 70s. Don't you start that. You start that. But hey, 70s are technically G6 anyway. So you're still not running G7 ones. Either way, you're still not running G7 ones because 70s are technically G6. You're still not doing what I was talking about. So my main argument is the costs are too low. And with not having consistent directive sourcing and not even the ability, if you wanted to run 5-6 of these a day, very limited. So that's why my feedback is pointing towards lower the refinery cost. Mechanics, fine. You either like the mechanic or you don't. So what about outpost directive sourcing? So you're going to see the outpost directive like this is going to end up being permanent in terms of they might put it in a different spot. As of right now, there is no permanent, as in they've not publicly said this is what we're doing. We know that it's going to stay. Like we know there's going to be a permanent sourcing for the directives, but whether they're going to put it in the refinery, whether they're going to put it in the daily chest and let you daily claim it, I don't know. But right now, if you're talking about the elite outpost, your sourcing is your drip via events and your drip via your battle pass. Long term, there will be one, but at month 1, we gotta sell them things. Yep, says loot crew plus Sisko plunder boost. Income really picks up. It does, but again, we just did a multiply of 3 on the plunder, and that's still not a lot. Yeah. So like, again, these numbers just don't line up. The math ain't mathing. The math's not mathing. The math's not mathing, right? So, and Imp says they're alternating elites and regulars, which means that for 12-hour periods, he's got 2 docks tied up, or for 6-hour periods, he's got 4 docks tied up. It's just not It's just not good gameplay. Put it that way. It's just not good gameplay. Bruno says there's just not enough loot I can complete. 63s is a 68. The 66s are too hard and I cannot complete them. Maybe if I get the building to 40, which would allow 3 ships. Yeah, but that takes ages. Yeah, 8-hour workday equal 1 outpost. It's fair, yeah. But my question to you would then be, is that good gameplay? And I think I know your answer. And I get why we're having this discussion. It is good to look at things from multiple sides. It is bad. It's just like, yeah, this is terrible. Well, it's just not good gameplay. Either way, given the amount of cost. Like the whole thing, the selling factor of Outpost was that it was going to be hands off. Well, if you're doing every workday and every nap time and every time you go to bed, that's not hands off. That's literally you doing it every day. That's not hands off at all. So it's just not a mechanic that pays to the average player. It's not a mechanic that most people enjoy. Doesn't matter if you're G7, G5. A majority of players have already been pretty vocal that they don't enjoy it as a whole. The costs just need to come down and let those who do enjoy it. But also make it to where if you're not somebody who's going to do it 3 times a day, even if you have the directives to do that, which you don't, you can still progress via unlocking the free-to-play path to the FC slot, unlocking the free-to-play path to Sisko, and doing it in a time that is reasonable. Because right now, you know, you're looking at the 1 million plunder cost of the FC slot. It's just very unreasonable. So. Flossie says they're 2 hostile/waves away from finishing an elite outpost level 70, but they are tough. They definitely take a jump. Now I will say, and I said it, I praised them earlier. I don't think they made the elites too hard. They really didn't. And look, the reason I am doing a regular 56 is just so I can show y'all side-to-side comparisons. I don't feel like they made these too hard. Right? I think they did a pretty good job of making the elite. I'll go as far as say this. The elite outposts are easier than elite waves are, comparing elite waves to solo waves. Elite outposts are easier. They are not as elite waves are when comparing solo waves and solo outposts. So in terms of difficulty and scaling, I think they did a pretty good job. I went through, Braindig sent me some logs for some, G6 level ones. I went over a couple of people who went through the 70s. I've not looked at any like level 76 logs. There have been some people who've done the 76 outpost elites. I've not looked at any 76 elite logs myself yet. But in terms of what they're putting out, let me scroll back real quick, get to the ones yesterday. You can see in terms of rounds, this one's only going 1 round more. You're not seeing a massive uptick in their damage output compared to their, their peer. So like a 56 compared to 56, a 6666. So I don't feel like they scaled it too high. I was actually really happy with that. It's just the payouts in terms of the refinery cost, I just think are too high. And it's easier to change the refinery costs and lower them than it is to say, hey, go change every elite outpost and rack up the loot tables. So Palmy, good to see you. Says, where are the Admiral's officer chests going to get an update? It's been months. I don't have an answer to that. Don't have an answer to that. Which do you think you'll do first? 1 million plunder or Syndicate 65? For me, definitely Syndicate 65. Based on if I'm taking how I expect the outpost to progress over the next few months, which isn't much, as in I think the outpost will pretty much be left behind, whereas Syndicate will not be. They're continually pushing more Syndicate. Don't be shocked when you see Syndicate 75 come out next year so they can sell 10 more levels of Syndicate. I feel pretty strongly that I will hit, because remember, I'm not able to start the pull for the FC, for the FC expansion slot yet, because you have to have building 61. So adding in the time it takes to do building 61, how much I will end up doing outpost, I will get Syndicate 65 likely before I free to play the FC expansion slot. For me personally. Other people might be able to do it quicker than that. Fine, right? But a 1 million plunder tag, yeah, that's just, you might as well buy it. If you want it today, you might as well buy it. You'll be waiting a while. So, Tom says punching up to a 73 is crazy difficult, even with maxed epics, cubes, and a vengeance. Tom, do you have any of those logs real quick? I can throw them on the screen if you have them. So, but like my OCC building, again, I didn't buy it or anything. So I'm running what I have is what, 19? Now, I expect mine to be far behind where a lot of other people are. but mine's at 19. That's no packs. That's also me running Outpost kind of in a every other day format. But I've also gone like I didn't run a single Outpost for well over a week after my computer crashed and everything. So it's going to take a while. I think it's where Zero's at. If you're a pure free to play and you've been doing the Outpost pulls consistently, I think you're around 25-ish. So, and keep in mind, that's also with the benefit of month 1 of November giving extra of that currency. You're not going to get that extra. Now you're relying completely upon the refinery pool. So you get a little bit of a faster jump start in month 1, which tends to be for every loop. And then that jump start has to trickle off and you just rely on the refinery the rest of the way. So it's going to take a while for people to get to 61 free to play. So here's a question for you. Are you able to rank which FCs you would prioritize in order? Yeah. That's easy. Lorca's still number 1. Khan's number 2. These are both very easy to get. Sloan still number 3. Then I would put Sisko as number 4. The only exception I would make to that rule for Sisko is if you're a G7 player. If you're a G7, then Sisko naturally is going to be more valuable. But if you're not, Sisko's probably my 4th, or you can argue 3rd, but personal playstyle will not put him above Lorca or Khan. If you're not a PvPer, then I would put Sisko 2nd under all situations. He's still not better than Gabriel Lorca. He's still not better than Gabriel Lorca. Lorca's still number 1. Why you run Locutus and not Kurt? Because I was doing PvP arenas and I've not switched it back. Well, arenas and incursions, and I've not switched it back. Simple, that's it. Just arenas and incursions, and I didn't swap it. There, just for you. I'll swap it only for me to need to be reminded Friday to swap it back. You can tell I don't swap my FCs very often. It's not a mechanic I interact with except for once or twice a week. But yeah, I guess we could do a whole video of ranking them. Problem is they're going to make a new FC all the time. Yeah, we could do that. Is notification broken again? Depends on the player. Some people, they don't work right. Some people, they do. There's not like a mass report of notifications being broken. There's just the constant, hey, mine doesn't work. Yep, that makes sense. Yeah, but there's not like a mass report going on. At least not in my DMs or any of the tickets that get forwarded to me. All right, let's see. If you saved up for all that plunder, it comes fast, but there are too many things to spend on. But even then, Jew, I have to disagree with you. The math doesn't support what you're saying. The plunder doesn't come in that fast. Even if you had all the multipliers and you were punching up into the G7 stuff, you're still talking hundreds of days to get everything. And that's for a G7 player who is going to already be spending. I disagree with you, Jew. The math does not support your claim that the plunder comes fast. Because when you have high bars, such as FC Sisko and such as the FC expansion, you can't say it comes fast. Now, had they kept everything like it was last month, as in a 50 is a single box pull and 1,000 is a double box pull, then I would kind of be more into what you're saying. Okay, I get what you're saying. You know, not necessarily liking the jump of going from 50 to 1,000, but 750 to 2,000 to 5,000? No, plunder doesn't come fast. And if you've got to have been a heavy spender to put yourself in a position where you deem it as comes fast, again, that doesn't apply to everybody else. So when you make content, you need to make it for everybody in the game, and then you're making people pay to get a jump start into it, not paywalling the content completely behind being a spender. I think that's two completely different things. Like basically saying that if you want to take advantage of this, you have to have already blessed us with your bounty. I don't think that's good game. I don't think there's anything that's going to change my opinion on that. You mean you aren't swapping around Lorca selectables like 5 times a day, twice on weekends? I'm not. No, I'm not. Well, keep in mind that there's only 2 selectables that I personally have on this account anyway. And I'm not going to swap around to do that. I have done that on PvP Arena Day, either Monday or Friday, depending on what day they decide to run it on. I've done it then, but not generally speaking. Yeah. You still want that premium dust? Oh, absolutely. Because I'm not done with my premium pulls, but I do want to pull that every day. 100%. You want that every single day. Right? Any day you can pull the premium is a great day. Which, let's see, can I do my pulls or I got timers? I can. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and make those pulls. In terms of getting 1 million, I would guess you could manage it in 5 to 6 months if you religiously ran Outpost. Yeah, and that's also based on your level, because I can't get near what you do. I mean, I can hit 60s. That's where I can hit. I can hit a 63, but I'm not going to complete it. And I could run a 60 elite. I'll math out the 60 elite if it's worth it for me. But for me, still probably more economical in terms of how much plunder I'll get to run the 56 elite. Pretty sure that'll still out earn the 60, but I'll double check that. Even with modifiers, and that's, again, if I do a 60, I can't run a loot crew. But even with modifiers, you're talking years. And good or bad, sadly, Rev is stronger than most people. Because I play to get strong for my level, not ops up. That's just way. It's not. I don't even think putting way too slow is fair. It makes it sound like it's it's not even the realm of free to play. Like it's almost a. I'm not going to use everybody's favorite term because that gets overused. It's not a BNS, but I don't know what I would even call it. I don't want to use the words bait and switch because that's not what it is. But it's not really a free to play path. Yeah, Rev is camping for resources? Definitely not. Well, there's just arena both Mondays and Fridays. You'd have to ask Scopely that. I don't have that answer. You agree things like mirror dust and other things are way more valuable? Yeah. And my argument is that the refinery needs to have a standard where if I'm pulling Outpost, why is premium mirror dust 50 and 1,000 and Sisko 750 and 2,000? Like, there just needs to be consistency around the board. I mean, hell, the hierarch is 100 and maxes out at 2,700. And that's, getting into your G7 PvP meta. So even if we're talking about like what people want to buy, this is way up there if you're into the PvP meta. And yet this is significantly cheaper. So, I mean, I just want consistency. The fact that they'll sell the USS Vengeance for $4,000, like just straight selling the blueprints. But that's not what they actually price this at with money. If you're going by plunder, like there's just no consistency and it gets frustrating at the end of the day. It's very frustrating. Rev learned to camp from JB. He did teach me all the ways. Yeah. He did teach me. Sisko has more universal appeal, equal higher price point. He has more higher appeal because nostalgia. But if we're talking about the players that he affects coming out in December, he affects basically G7. Because there's so many walls to Sisko. Like it's not just like the $100 to have Sisko. If somebody's level 51 and bought Sisko, they can feel free to speak up on this. It's not just acquiring Sisko that's a paywall. Sisko has a lot of paywalls to max out Sisko. So, I mean, he really only fixes and helps G7 people. I mean, he applies, or like he's, who doesn't want Sisko? One of the best captains, arguably the best captain in Star Trek history. Argue with your mother. Nostalgia is definitely a powerful tool, but value? G7 plus. G7 plus. And mainly for the point that Emperor brings out is that he's helping you save. This is TikTok girl math, but he's saving you money in G7 because he's lowering the cost to do upgrades on things that, for example, I had a level 73 quit this morning. And one of the reasons he quit is because he said, look, I'm spending several thousand per building upgrade, which is fine. Like, I'm not judging that player. He's finally hit his frustration point and quit. But Sisko saved him money on how much it would cost to upgrade the buildings. The problem is, that whole TikTok girl math thing is if you're going to spend $10,000 a month, some people are, Sisko's not really saving you anything. It's just letting you buy other packs in addition to what you were already buying. So, it's whatever. But he does make the G7 economy better. It's one of the first G7 economy boosters coming in only 2 months after G7 launched, which is about a month earlier than I expected. So if you're a G7 player and you are a spender, Sisko absolutely makes sense. But for everybody else, I see no reason why G5 or G6 should go out and buy Sisko unless you just love Sisko from Star Trek and you just need to have him because he's Sisko. And that's a fair reason to get something. I'm not going to argue your fandom. I mean, if you're just a fan of something, absolutely go after it. That's what I was doing. I needed to go and do aquatics. So let me go reset this real quick. And the Galactic Acclaim in the store is a total waste. You only get 20. It would take 50 days just to get one base upgrade. Yeah, the Galactic Acclaim is a complete ignore. in my opinion. It almost feels like a filler item they throw in there, which is fine, I guess, to have filler items, but it feels like a filler item where, hopefully nobody is truly focusing in on that. I mean, my honest to goodness opinion, I hope nobody's dumping all their plunder into something like a claim or dumping in anything that you don't feel like you're actually gonna get value from. It'd be better to have more currency and then buy a bigger box of something than to buy just the small box of everything just because it's being offered. Let me see. Let me go grab, because I'm not going to be moving around all my lower decks. I'm just going to grab old school cheese. Yep. I'm not moving all my lower decks around. And I just actually need, no, we need to do that. Sent you a screenshot of Sisko. Bought him with no extra upgrade packs. He's going to take a time to upgrade. Oh, he definitely is. That's why I told people, if you ask my opinion, you should not buy a Sisko unless you are a spender in G7. If you're a spender in G7, that makes 100% sense to me. I completely get it, and I've encouraged all the spenders who typically talk to me to do it. For those curious, here's where BRS is at. I'm trying to remember what level BRS is at, but I guess he can share. Here's his Sisko. This is how far he's made it, which is not far. Not far at all. Tib says they think a claim was added to placate the people upset that the Saris invasion ended. I think that's a solid argument. I'll be honest, I've not actually thought about that. Yeah, that could be solid. It could be very well be a reason and logic to it. As far as conjecture goes, that's good conjecture. Yeah, as you can see, I mean, he's cool. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Sisko is bad. I'm just saying the walls is not just buying Sisko. There are several walls of Sisko. It wouldn't be a stretch to say that Sisko is a G7 fleet commander that you can get access to before G7. That's how I see it. He is a G7 fleet commander. It's kind of like this. Let me phrase it this way. Sisko is a G7 fleet commander, just like the Borg Cube is a G6 ship. Can you technically get the Cube before G6? Absolutely. You can get down level 28, and it looks awesome. The Cube does not become a primary ship, as in it is your number one until G6. Same thing with Sisko. He's not your number one until the top end of the game, but you can still access him earlier if you want him. That's fine. I mean, I would actually encourage you to start the free-to-play path. As much as I've talked about the pricing being bad, if you're doing Outpost as a mechanic, I would encourage you, pull Sisko. I'm not saying he doesn't have good bonuses. I'm just saying he's a G7 fleet commander that you can have access to before G7. Is there any permanent sourcing for transition token systems besides upgrading the building? Once you get the building to level 45, you get one a week. That's the permanent sourcing. So not great sourcing. Yeah. Any chance of Scopely updating both loyalty chests? At some point, yeah. At some point. See, I was able to get my Vulcan scroll and storybook to tier 11 tonight. Oh, congrats. That's awesome, Zulu. That's further than I have mine. Great job. I've also kind of started like, I'll tell you what's hurt me the most. And I blame Emperor Jew if he's still here, because him and DMFL have stopped mining as much transigen as they used to. I guess they're all focused on running the Outpost arc now. So I have less OPC coming into my coffers. Like, I literally go looking for OPC in the transigen systems. I just won't find it, which relegates me to actually have to mine my own transigen. And I'm not able to do my pulls as consistently as I was. I'm doing single pulls now where I was doing double pulls. So DMFL, if you're out there, please think of my children. Go back out there and start mining transigen again. I need the OPC. This is really hurting my gameplay. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Poor baby indeed. Exactly. You are not wrong. I am the victim here. I am a victim. And DMFL is not thinking about me. Hopefully I gave you a little bit of a smile. Where's your Christmas gift banner? What do you mean? What you mean? Squalls have started taking over transition space in my server. I mean, we have some squalls. We don't have that many squalls, but we have squalls. I'll hit those OPC too, but yeah. I actually probably, speaking of things I need to do passively during a work day, like Emperor was talking about earlier, I need to go set some miners out. I've got 3 miners. This one does rare, this one does uncommon, and this one does the epic. And I just run those every day. At least I need to. I'm working on it. I'm trying to be like y'all and mine more stuff myself. I know it's blasphemy, but it's only because I'm running out of options. I mean, I'll send out my stuff right now. We'll go look for some OPC, and I'm probably going to struggle to find it. And if I do find it, Emperor Drew's probably waiting right by my base to one-shot it. He's just waiting. Yeah, Rev, I dare you. I dare you to go OPC. You have 6 months plus of raw transgen to max pull in the refinery. Set and forget it. And see, I don't know what your costs are, but like I had a good month's worth saved up, but I don't have years. I wish I had years. I do not have years worth saved up. I really do wish I did though. That'd be great if I had just years of it. But sadly, not the case for Rev. Sadly, not the case. Now, I do need to go into like systems like this and set for a while, which I could. This is actually be a good day to do it. The reason I typically don't is if I leave it in here too long, number one, I'll forget. And number two, it's going to get pulled for like, if I wait till Thursday, well, I'm going to get it pulled on arenas on Friday. So anyway, that was just a little tongue-in-cheek ribbing to DMFL. Shout out to, I'm sure everybody has an alliance that they, go back and forth with. You have over 840,000 epic transgen. You would love it. I absolutely would. Let me find it. I'll come after it. Yeah. Once you have the artifacts max, is there a point to do the transgen arc? I mean, there are things besides artifacts that the transgen can, help you with. Now, I think it's a good point that you can make the argument that you could stop at that point. But I would point out that there's other things it gives you besides artifacts. For example, the consumables for ship efficiencies, those can be useful. It might not be useful to you right now, but after you finished all the things, maybe there's something in there that is useful. Again, I don't know what level you're at, so I'm just throwing things out there. The jump drives, that's still worth getting, even for later ships. So right now I've got the early ships, but let's say I'm working on these right now. I actually can't afford this on the retard, and if I want to get it this very second, that can have value. But I would agree that once the artifacts wrap up, there's a diminishing value to what you're getting from the transgen jump. Jumped in to miss your trashing of your alliance. Hey, you say I'm jealous as if DMFL has not actively recruited me multiple times. But no, I was just saying, I was lamenting that DMFL is doing the new loops because I don't catch them OPC and transgen as much anymore. So I was just saying, man, this sucks. I have to actually go out and mine my own transgen, which I know you don't care about. You do feel 0 bits of sympathy for Rev, which is completely fair. That's all I was doing. You missed Emperor Jew in here earlier. We were talking about the new refinery, or the refinery additions with Sisko and the Fleet Commander spot. Feel free to chime in with your thoughts. If there was a mechanic that allowed others to give mining materials without OPC hunting, would you still OPC hunt them? Like a bribe? Like if they saw Rev coming and they said, hey, if you don't blow up my ship, I'll give you 200,000. Yeah, sure. I'll take that. An exploit mechanic? I'll support that. See, look, Serene Squall, but no OPC. Sure. Yeah, you invent that mechanic, I'll support it. Pay Rev, I don't want to get an OPC fee. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. And you're right, Tavi. Now I appreciate you. All right, I did manage to find 1 million, so I guess I got to quit crying now. I need more than 1 million, though. 1 million's not enough. 1 million doesn't go very far in G6. Mafia style protection racket? Yeah, absolutely. I'll absolutely support that mechanic. Yeah. You hesitate getting jump drives because they make extra clicks in arenas? Honest to goodness, John, that's the #1 reason I've been debating it, because I am one of the few people who plays PvP arenas. For those who are curious, the number of players in PvP arenas, the last time, which they just ran, had an SMS, and we saw a massive jump again of arenas players, and it jumped all the way up to about, I think it was 7,000 participants, which in the grander population of the game is not that much. So even with an SMS running, there's not that many. And the point I bring that up is I realize that my logic for the jump drives is not only in the minority, but like in a very, very, very tiny minority. So when I speak about jump drives, I really only speak positively about them because I do think that the mechanic is awesome. Like the ability to jump straight in is, I really do think that was a great addition. It's one of the best things that came out of that month was getting the jump drives. I really do like it. But if you are me or one of the few people like me, it does make you have to then go, well, is it worth it? because arenas can be buggy enough without extra clicks and without extra things popping up on my screen. So, and not to mention the speed of, you know, slowing yourself down with just one click, which might not sound like a lot, but really can be the difference. So let's see, where's that hostile I need to freeze? Where are you at? Oh, there you are. You still haven't done an arena since the move to Fridays, maybe one day? Yeah, I mean, that timing could definitely be bad for people. 100% agree. Yeah. You would mine transient, but your best mining ship mines transient way too slow and you have no hazard protection. Well, Dustin, I mine transient on my level 38 account and I have no hazard protection. But my refinery also doesn't ask for that much. All right, let's see. Anything in here? A couple ships, maybe. We got one on a 0 node, maybe. Nope. Let's see if Grumpy's got anything. Nope. Great name, though. This is a great name, too. I don't want to say it here on YouTube, but y'all can see it for yourself. Fantastic name. Let's see if the Selkie. Yeah, there we go. Selkie's OPC. We got a little bit. Is the Squall just an epic miner, or can it do the rares, uncommons, etc.? So when you first get the Serene Squall, it is an epic only miner. Now, there are researches that improve the Serene Squall's ability to mine the other elements, but you have to do the researches to get that. So if you go into your research tree, you're going to find it under your starships. Yeah, there we go. Starships, and they're down here at the bottom. Serene Squall mining, uncommon, and rare for the 3. You've got to do these researches before the Serene Squall becomes a decent miner in all of the elements. So for me, this is not something you see. I'm not focusing in on it. I'm actually saving up to get these right here. I want to get the sweeps. And I'm slowly working that way. But I want to get the sweeps. The sweeps are going to allow me to complete my dailies by mining Transigen. But you can technically make your ship into a better Transigen miner, the Squall that is, and make it to where it mines all 3. Or I'm sorry, all 4. But you're going to spend a lot of that research currency that I think there's better things to focus on first and then come back to it, especially if you've got a Nova or a Selkie. Just go ahead and throw them on a node and let them handle all that anyway. That's what I would do. For jump capable ships, they just need to make a jump button to the first screen like they have on the recall screen. I think that's a great idea, Brandon. Yeah, that's fair. By the time you build up the Squall a bit, you won't need to mine anything but Epic. You'll get enough of the other stuff from the daily free Strongbox. It's a good point led by Major Samo. As you tier up the Squall, it does improve its own value. I think a lot of the other CCs in the chat would agree. I know Tibbs is here, Samo's here. Those researches just aren't that good. Now, I did those researches because I wanted to do math and I wanted to see, hey, what does this several 1000% bonus actually look like? And as you can see, I've diverted my focus into going after the other research. I don't feel like making Serene Squall a common Transigen miner is worth it. It's one of those that you get done eventually just so that you can have the research done. But anybody else is more than welcome to add in their opinions as well. I think the sweeps are probably the focus for most who are even participating in that, but that's where I'm at. Your Squall is just a baby at tier 3. My Squall is also still a baby at tier 5. But we're working on it. Again, I missed time with the computer crashing and stuff, and even though I can get in on my phone, I'll be honest, y'all, I'm not going to mine on my phone. If I have to log into this game and play it on my phone, I'm getting dailies and battle pass done, and that's it. I'll be hecked if you're going to get me out there mining. It's not happening. Your Nova mines Transigen quickly. Yeah, again, like if you have a Nova or a Selkie, now if you're one of the few people who don't, and you've decided that you don't want them, that's fine. I like to make content for everybody. You can find value in the Squall. So I'm telling you how you can do it. But I would think you'd be better off having, 4 Novas that you can build for free than bother upgrading the Selkie. Like if you're going to mine, go out and mine, baby. Make everything a mining ship. Why not? Max Nova with a mining crew. Yeah, see, and I only use protected cargo crews. That is the only mining crew I ever use, and I'm actually not using any mining crew at the moment. I'm just straight mining. Just straight up. I got PvP crews on my boat right now. Yeah, I'll jump. I don't care. All right, let's see. Other comments. Tons of us are only doing it for the Vengeance SMS. That's also fair. And Axe, since you brought up the Vengeance, let me go ahead and get you to put a comment about what you think about the Vengeance pricing via the Outpost runs. What's your thought on the Vengeance pricing? Go ahead and give me your opinion. Would love to hear. All right, come in here. Let's see if we can find the OPC. You love eating rocks? I bet you do. You come across as a rock eater. But that doesn't mean we don't love our rock eaters. We do. We do. And I appreciate you, somebody. Is this game collapsing? Well, I would put it this way. It's a slow crumble. It's a slow crumble. Like, the game's not collapsing to the point where STFC is not going to be here this time next year. You know, and I know there are people who will say it will be dying. There have been people who've been telling me this game's been dying for 6 years. I would say that you definitely have negatives right now, and that if they don't course correct, and I'll be honest, I don't think they're going to course correct. I think the game's got 2 years left before it hits maintenance mode, and then it'll probably peter down maintenance mode for a year or so. And what maintenance mode would look like is most of the staff would be let go, and you would just have almost a skeleton crew to keep basics up and going, still have like generic battle passes that ran, but you would never return to the glory days. So I think it's got 2 more years of actively being run at its current pace before it gets maintenance mode, which means long-term shelf life, 3 more years of game. Now, I also think that could be extended. I don't want to make it seem all doomsday, as in like, that's all, look, the game's dead tomorrow. I think they could turn around and fix a lot of the problems that are causing players to leave and frustrating. So, but it just, that's where we're at right now. I'd say you've got 2 years of the game being active and then another year of maintenance mode before it's just not making enough money and it's not worth paying the servers to stay online. STFC is in marketing mode again. Yeah, they are. They've also renewed their focus on trying to get streamers to show off the game. There are a few different, and if y'all really want to get frustrated, I can show y'all some of these, but they've got offers for players or for streamers. Like, there are some streamers making $30,000, $40,000 to convince their player base to sign up for the game. But the truth is, as much as I do appreciate marketing, I think it's important, Scopely/STFC is paying more than the going rate, as in they're paying more than everybody else is to get people to do that. And then most of those people don't stick around. I mean, on server 710, when it launched, obviously I joined up and restarted over there, but we had several streamers who did the same thing. We had one YouTuber who Scopely paid to make content because he had a very large audience. I'm a very small person on YouTube, FYI. For those who don't know, I am very, very small in YouTube. So when I say a big YouTuber, I'm talking about somebody with, well over 6 digits following them regularly type deal. And he paid me to teach him the game so that he could restart on server 710 because he was getting paid to promote the game. He was gone as soon as his contract was up. Now, I appreciate that he cared enough to reach out to a person who actually does work with this game and say, hey, I'll throw you a couple $100 if you teach me things I need to know. Very big thank you to that streamer. But he's gone. He wasn't the only one. There were several people who did the same thing. Those people do not tend to stick around. Yeah, exactly who I'm talking about, Tibbs, Lex. Those people don't stick around. And I don't blame them for not sticking around. Like, I'm not mad at them. They fulfilled their contract and they're gone. And when they leave, guess what? The people who've been following them because they love Lex Brawl Stars also tend to leave. You might get a handful that stay. And all that, Scopely's really, or STFC's really into, marketing the game right now, trying to get new people in. If y'all missed it, between July and August, they launched 6 new servers, 2 in APAC, 2 in the US, and 2 in the EU. I think it was 6. It might have been 8. All right, so they've been trying to refill up the ranks for all the people who are getting frustrated and leaving. But, yeah, again, I hate stuttering. They're doing a lot of the same stuff they've always been doing, though. As in, like, we're going to fix the problem how we fixed it 4 years ago, and I just don't think that's going to work. That's when I say, like, until I see them actually change, I believe the game's got 2 years of play life and then maintenance mode and however long maintenance mode lasts. So, I really can't help but be long-winded today, and I apologize for that. Need a big APAC marketing campaign? Yeah, they did it once, and I think that burned them so much they haven't tried it again, but they did it once. Yeah. All right, let's see if anybody's OPC in here. I'm coming in and beam them with the GS31 and take all the goodies. Because that's what a real pirate does. And nope, already scanned those two. Let's go ahead and bring you home. You're going to give me a little bit. Give me a little bit. Owl provides their experience as they started playing 5 months ago because of a RuneScape Twitch streamer getting paid to promote the game. A lot of his viewers played, but mostly quit around September, October, and we had our own STFC Discord, everything. Yeah, and by the way, Al, I love that you stuck around, and I definitely don't want it to sound like I'm like speaking down on YouTubers and streamers who do that. I take promoted streams. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but what I'm saying is the retention rate of that is very low, right? If let's just say that streamer gets 100 people to join the game, 3 months from now, what, 5 maybe still play? I mean, Al, you just went through that experience. If you wouldn't mind sharing some of yours, what was it like? So, yeah. What's with the promo codes? Are you asking what the promo codes are? The promo code, if you're 51 and above, is Outpost without a U, 2. And then if you are lower level, it is Strange New World, is SNW. Crud, what's the other one? I posted it yesterday. I done forgot what it is. Somebody tell me what the lower level one is. It's SNW. I don't remember. Somebody post in the chat if you're below level 51, what the code is for you this month. There you go. SNW D1 gift. Thank you. Those are the 2 codes if you've not input them already and you would like to get the codes for this month. SNW D1 gift and then OTPST2. Depending on your level, those are the codes. OTPS2 didn't work. Did you try it yesterday or did you try it today? Because yesterday the code was wrong, as in the code was actually OUPST, and they changed it back to what it's supposed to be. So you might have changed it before they fixed the code. Yeah, here's the promo codes right there. Now it is incorrect because it's not paying out Nog shards. So ignore this poke. Ignore. You can even see with the extra space, there's a little copy pasta going on around here. So ignore that part because you're not getting Nog shards, you're getting other shards. But yeah, it's OTPST2, but they had to fix the code because the code wasn't working. So there you go. Fun things we learned on stream with Rev. Consistency as well. That announcement got fixed. Well, I mean, I rebooted the game today, so it should be showing correctly, but mine's not. So I'm not going to do the whole clear localization thing. It's just, there you go. But if you haven't put in the codes, there was an issue with them yesterday. Try it out. So Al, responding to my question, says, they really like the Wrath of Konark, but the last few months have been tough. I'm Ops 56, and for the first time, I'm a bit unsure of what direction to take my account. I want to do more PvP, but the new, harder hostile always shifts my attention. Sounds like, Al, you're stuck where Scopely wants you stuck. They want you in this leveling up fast part where you get frustrated, which means you buy something to catch up, only to then give you another carrot to chase. I would strongly encourage you to slow down. Now, I would say this. If you're really into PvP, Al, like let's just say you want to explore PvP, I can give you the best of both worlds. Take your butt to level 60 and camp there for a year. I know that sounds terrible, but if I rush you to 60, you're going to really struggle. So you're going to have goals to reach. And if you want to do PvP arenas, one of the best levels to do PvP arenas, and everybody in chat who does arenas can tell you, level 60. Max out those level 60 epics, have a really strong relativity, etc. You'll dominate in arenas. You'll have a blast. Because you can either be the power guy by going with 56s and 52s, or you can be the support guy and play with your 64s and your 68s. 60 is a fantastic level for everything. 56 in less than a year is very fast, which means if I had your account, let's just say you quit the game, you broke terms of service, and you gave RevDeuce your account. You know what I would do? I'd move it to level 60. I would play catch up there, and I'd be there for a long time. But that's the key. Like, you can't go level 60, be there 2 months, and be like, oh, there's something at 63. Like, you need to eventually slow down or spend more, because that's the only way STFC works. You either slow down or spend more, or I guess there's a third option, you willingly go, hey, I'm going to miss out on certain things. Because you mentioned PvP, you can't do that third option. To do PvP in this game, you must either spend or slow down and be strong for your level. That's the only real way to do PvP in STFC. Doing ops reviews Wednesdays. Today is Wednesday. Crap, it is Wednesday. But no, it wasn't no one a day because we're already 15 minutes from closing. But my brain said it was Sunday for some reason. Yeah. Yeah. Really wasn't OTPST supposed to give you NOG? Nope. Nope. At 49, I'd go to 50 and I'd build an epic. Love being at 60. Camping here as I get my artifacts and researches up. Bulking up your G5 epics. There you go. It's hard with these new PvP FTs. I disagree. And you don't run into many of those in G5 anyway. So there's just so much that you can do at 60 if you just want to spend some time. And I can put it this way. At 60, if you decided to spend some time at 60, there's enough to do where you don't feel like you are just sitting there bored. There's plenty of things that we can find for you to do. For example, at level 60, that's a great, just based on the ships that you have, that's a great time to sit there and rep grind in the mirror universe. So set you some rep goals to chase. You've got, but with your NX01 maxed out, you can participate in level 70 Crenum formation armadas at level 60. There's just a lot that you can do. So anyway, there's just my advice. And if you need anything, Al, please know that you're more than welcome to message me, talk one-on-one, etc. If you've got questions, I encourage that to everybody. Anybody that's got questions, wants help with the game, hit me up. You can even hit up, shockingly, Tiberius. He also will help you, but he'll do it with like a grumpy face, but he'll still help you. Yeah. He'll still help you. Around Wrath of Khan, there are these $6 to $20 augment special packs. Used to give a lot of resources, but Scopely have stopped that. Well, what happened was, Al, is you started spending, and how this game and other free-to-play models work is once you start buying the cheaper options, we just start showing you the more expensive options. You've already shown me that you're willing to spend. And this game, it just froze. Oh, there we go. So like your weekly offers start off at $10. Once you start consistently spending on these turn into, as chat can tell you, $50. That's what they do. This game and other games use a scaling system where once you show that you're willing to be a spender, well, we're going to charge you for the bigger packs. They put the hook in your mouth and they just keep pulling. And the logic is, once you've spent $100 once, $50 once, you're going to do it again. They know that the number of people who buy a $100 pack one time is smaller than the number of people who buy a $100 pack multiple times. Is it Jew? Did he come around? Was it Emperor Jew? I left the shield. There it is. Hey, Jew. I wasn't sure if you were still around. I left the shield down, just wondering when he was going to come around. Hey, Imp. Good to see you still around, bud. But I know that shocks a lot of people to hear, but that's how they do it. It all comes down to psychology. If you do it once, it's like a slot machine. Work day got busy. It's all good, man. I actually went OPC hunting. We did like wasn't a segment, but I made the comment like 30 minutes ago, how long is it going to be before Emperor Jew comes back around? So, but yeah, like the logic is once you do it once, you're going to do it again. And you can even see that in your real life. How many times have you complained, about a restaurant your wife or your husband wants to go to, but once you do it, you'll go again, even if it was expensive, or, you've got something that maybe you're into Magic the Gathering and you're like, hey, when I got into this hobby, I was spending, $200 a year. Now you spend $200 a month, but you can't help it because you've already done it. Sunk cost fallacy and all these other things work. Now, we can hate them, but they work. So that's how it is in STFC, where once you start spending up to that $50, $100 range, they go, cool, you don't need to see all this stuff anymore. Now, you will still have things that have good value in terms of like lower price point items, battle passes, things like that. And I will give Scopely and STFC credit because this was the first year, and Al, you got to experience it. Congratulations. You would not know that this never happened before. This year, we had actual Cyber Monday and Black Friday sales. The first time ever they lowered prices on actual packs. Some of y'all might have seen it. It had never happened before in terms of like to the wide open public. Emperor Jew and other G7s might be able to tell you about special packs some people have been offered before up in the VIP area. But in terms of the general population, actual packs for sale was the first time we actually saw those get cut. So kudos to STFC. I'm glad y'all finally did that. But the hook method is how they typically run their packs around, which is also why I have a lot of people who will come to me like, Rev, do you think I should buy this pack? And we'll take a look at their account. So you just spent $180 on a special box for Magic the Gathering last night. Exactly, Sean. Right? But I bet 20 years ago, that would have been just outrageous to you. Like, how, I would not do that, right? I won't do that. Why would I do that? I will never do that. Yeah, you will. They know. Just like I've never played Magic the Gathering before in my life. I have one Magic the Gathering item, and it was a Lord of the Rings starter deck. And I was like, it's Lord of the Rings. I've got to have it. It's never been open. But 2026, for those that don't know, Magic the Gathering is doing a partnership with Star Trek. I will be buying the Star Trek Magic the Gathering set, and that very possibly could get me into Magic, which very possibly could cause me to lose my home and, you know, default on my mortgage. We'll see. But once I buy the Star Trek Magic stuff, what's my argument against buying more Magic stuff? I don't know. Because guess what? I'm going to take a wild guess here. I bet my Star Trek Magic the Gathering set isn't the best Magic the Gathering set. I'm probably not going to be very good. So I'm going to actually need to put some good cards into my Star Trek set. And then, oh goodness, this just came out and this is really good. I should probably add it. Oh wait, they redact this card being able to be used? Really? I can't use this anymore? Well, I guess I got to go buy something else and get... It's not just mobile games doing this gimmick. Who knew? Who knew? So, yeah, who knew? Oh man, fun times, y'all. You got to have fun. You got to laugh at yourself sometimes too. Remember, money doesn't follow you when you die, right? You die, you die. You can believe in heaven like I do, you cannot. But either way, everybody agrees the money don't follow you when you die. So spend it while you got it. Have fun. Just make sure you're spending it responsibly. There are 3 formats to play in Star Trek or in Magic. See, I don't know anything about Magic the Gathering except that it exists. I know there's a Black Lotus card that if I somehow manage to find at a garage sale, I can pay off my house. But other than that, I don't even think that's what it's called. What is the card called? But anyway, yeah, your analytical mind will love the game. I probably will, Marin. But you know what also will hurt? My parsimonious mind will hate the game. The Scrooge McDuck that lives in the back of my head will hate the game. After Galaxy Quest, we're likely to see Magic the Gathering entering the game 2026. No idea. But Magic the Gathering also has partnerships with like Transformers and Lord of the Rings and all kinds of stuff. So is it Black Locutus? Yes, that's what it is. That's the card I'm looking for. His wife will hate the game as well. Well, you say that. My wife likes my trading card game. Do I not have a deck on my desk? For those that don't know, I'm creating my own trading card game. My wife likes that. She likes playing Pokemon with me. Maybe she'll like Magic. Maybe she will. It is Black Lotus. See, I knew it was something. I knew it was something. Find you a wife who just likes spending time with you. Which Ops 40 specialization ship is the most useful long term? In terms of ships available at level 40, then I'm going to have to say the relativity. Here, let me pull up the Ops progression spreadsheet. I'm going to have to say the relativity. If we're just saying, hey, which one is the most long-term value? That's going to be the relativity. Wait, I'm sorry. No, it isn't. Relativity is 42. That's my bad. Relativity is 42. So was that a trick question? Yeah, the relativity is actually level 42. So, all right, I need to move these. Hold on, I got to move the spreadsheet. Whoop! There we go. 42. So at 40, if I had to pick one at specifically that comes at 40, out of those, either the Enterprise or the Protector. Either the NX or the NSEA. But in terms of like just G4 and above, it's the relativity. The NX class is only good for Swarm and Zindi at most. That is very inaccurate, Dustin. That's not accurate at all. That's not accurate at all. You don't know why the NX01 is so great? Because the NX01 allows players who have worked on maxing. Again, we're talking about long term. The NX01 can take you to this system. The NX01 can take you to this system. The NX01, come on up here. The NX01 can take you to this system. These systems that have 1500 warp range type deal or 1200, the NX01 can take you there as a low-level player, let your bigs in your alliance carry you, you get the starter chest, cha-ching. No, the NX01's fantastic because it has insane warp range. Is it a great warship? No. But in terms of value, the NX-01 is very high because of what it can give you access to that you can't reach with anything else until you get higher level. And the ability to just come in here and launch a Krenim 70 and then have your bigs carry is insane. The ability to just launch the Zindi Rare, gotta go find it again, but just launch the Zindi Rare 60 and let your bigs carry you is insane. That doesn't even count regular armadas. Super, super valuable, right? Now, at the same time, is it, something you're going to take into PvP arenas? No. Are you going to necessarily replace your, FKR grinding ship with it? No. But value very high for what it can do for you. Now, maybe you don't have an alliance that will do that with you. Maybe you don't have an alliance that is going to do Zindi armadas and stuff like that. Fair. But what it can do? Oh, it's very good. Yeah. Yeah, and Razor's saying like there's also a payoff for the bigs because the bigs are getting free loot. Because their ships are going to vacuum up all the loot. You're getting the loot from the starter chest. It works for everybody. It's a win-win. Somebody says it's a trick question. The answer is all of them. The answer is always all of them, all the ships. Sadly, you're not wrong. Yeah, I mean, because there are some specialty ships that we've argued are definitely skippable, but yeah, all. Ipper Juice says get a better alliance. I would agree. If you have an alliance that won't do Zindi armadas for you, like, put it this way. I run an alliance called Horde on server 710. We've only got a couple of Sigma players. And even though we've only got a couple, we're excited if somebody wants to bring out an NX-01 and go launch a big armada. We'll try to make that happen. So, yeah. Definitely agree with Ipper Jew. If your alliance won't support you, find you one that will. Absolutely. I'm always telling people you need to be in the strongest alliance that you can be in. If you make the decision like, hey, I would rather be in, instead of DMFL, let's go back in time where all the big alliances had like baby versions of their alliance. I don't know how many servers still do that, but in the early days of STFC, even through like the halfway point, what you would see a lot of is, let's say you have the top alliance in the game, and we're just going to say they're DMFL. And then you would have DMFL 2 and DMFL 3 or DMFL Alpha and DMFL Silver and Beta or whatever. Maybe you purposely choose to be in the third one, which is like the rank 14th alliance as it feeds all the stronger people into the higher ones. You can make that choice to be in the farm alliance or whatever. But in terms of what's better for your account, being in the strongest alliance you can be in that's active and doing things is the way to progress faster. And I've also said, you being in the top 3 alliances on your server is like giving yourself 2 or 3 packs a month. USFA, A, B, and C. Exactly. I didn't want to shout out like Iron Armada and Iron Guard and Iron Reapers because that's what I actually led Iron Reapers back in the day. But yeah, exactly. Right. You could choose to be in those, but at the end of the day, every player, if you're specifically wanting to advance yourself in the game, being in the top 3 alliances is equivalent to getting 2 to 4 packs a month for free between all the alliance leaderboard rewards and things like that happen. Between being in the highest league and alliance tournaments, you're getting hundreds of dollars of free stuff that you normally wouldn't get if you're hanging out with all your friends down in, not trying to be mean to the Maquis, but hanging out with all your friends in the Maquis. You're getting way more in terms of like value. But be where you want to have fun at. But if you're going to ask the advice of people like me and others in the chat, we're going to point you to being in the highest level alliance that'll take you. So, Justin says, I'm in an alliance that will not even run Lat Rush SLB, AOBs, and few alliance mates will do anything. So Dustin, again, they could be great people. Like, there's nothing wrong with being a casual player. But if you're saying, hey, what should I do to make my account better? You just telling me that statement. If we were doing account reviews, which we're going to do those again next week. Y'all don't let me forget. Next Wednesday, account reviews. If I was saying the number one thing you can do to make Dustin's account better, new alliance. That would be my number one thing. If your alliance doesn't care about AOBs or anything, that's completely fine. I really encourage people to be casual. I'd rather you be a casual player who enjoys STFC than quit STFC because you don't want to do all the things. So nothing wrong with being a casual. But if you're just trying to get the most out of you can out of your account, get on the other one. Yeah. Robert says, on the other hand, you always got to be aware that if you're a low-level player and guys with massive ships join your armadas, pointlessly jacking out loot payouts is annoying. Well, that's, again, Robert Wyatt's key for you to focus on being the starter. That's completely okay. And I'm very confident DMFL does the same way. If there are players who are low level who can start the Armada, in this case, let's use Zendies. If I've got a level 50 who can start this, I would much rather the level 50 start and me just be in it than all the whales start them. And that's how it works in our alliance. So I'm sure it's the same way in DMFL and others, right? If you can start it, we want you to start it. We'll attend. Just come start it. Hell, every big alliance that I've been in, they'll start a rift as far as you can go. Let's say you don't have the NX01 yet, because Dustin's level 42. Let's use Dustin as an example. We'll rip you with a Gorn Eviscerator as high as you can go. Can you only get to level 60s? We'll take you to a 60. Let's run them. Because I'll tell you what, one thing that spenders and big alliances have got tired of doing? I noticed they don't buy a lot of Armada packs anymore. Back in the day, Armada packs used to be the hottest sellers in STFC. Some of you might look at me and go, Rev, that's insane. There's no way people were buying Armada directives and that was a popular pack. People used to beg for Armada packs to come into the game. They used to beg for 2 packs just in the past couple years. Rep packs and Armada packs. People used to beg for packs to come in the game. They don't do that anymore. So yeah, they'll be more than happy to take Dustin's directives and let Dustin launch it, get the starter box, and then they take all the loot. 100%. Nobody want to come out here buying Armada packs anymore. Not in today's economy. But these, you wonder why is there an entire tab for Armadas? These used to be hot sellers. These used to be the waffles at Waffle House, baby. This was the all-star breakfast. It's not anymore, but it used to be. They couldn't sell enough Armada packs. Times change. Now, give me that level 50 with an NX01. I don't have any Crenum starts and I'm not buying them, but we can run them. We can run them. But yeah, find you an alliance that'll work with you. And if you're on server 20, it's not DMFL, it's COE. But both of us will help you out. So you remember the Galactic Armada packs that came out when they ran Armada events? Yeah, and again, at the time, those were huge sellers. They're not anymore, but they were. Now, I think a lot more teams are doing what we're talking about. They're using communication to get the starts they want to get. And like in this alliance, we organize days of when we're going to do surges, when we're going to do Crenum formations. We organize those. So everybody comes. You can be a level 58. Bring your NX01. You're starting these, right? We organize everything. Palm says they were a sucker for a Galactic Armada pack back in the day. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with it. You got your money's worth. You're still here 2 years later. Yeah. They were thinking there's barely anyone in G6. Getting a group together be hard. Yeah. Yeah. Back in the day. Good times, man. It's fun to go down the nostalgia rabbit hole sometimes. But yeah, it's crazy to see how values and things change. And something that people were willing to spend $1,000 a month on, now we laugh at and say that's completely worthless. So Joanne says, doing Crenum solos, should you start it with your relativity or does it not matter which ship starts them? It doesn't matter. The loot box you're going to get is the same no matter what. The actual starter chest stays the same regardless of what ship starts. Yep. All right. Oof, good times. Good fun, everybody. But we're going to wrap up. Remember, if you want more Rev time, more questions, etc., we will be streaming again in a couple hours over on Twitch if you want to come hang out there. Also, if you want to support the channel, if you would like to support the channel, you don't have to, but this channel cannot do what it does without your financial support, just like your local PBS station. This is PBR, though. This is Public Broadcasting Rev, okay? There's the links right there, or you can check out the website, revdeuce.com. Never required, always appreciated. Hope y'all have had a blast. I have, hanging out with y'all, and I'll see you on the next one. Or, for some of you, I'll see you in a few hours. Either way, deuces. I'm going to see my kids, get them out of school, all that fun stuff.
An even better outro than the intro. For the Empire and glory to your house.